jumping anybody, so make your choice right.
Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How strong will the Monster Trio be post Wano? This is a question many fans are dying to know as we inch closer and closer to the end of the series and the Straw Hats are facing the biggest obstacle ever against one of the Emperors of the Sea, Kaido. We will do a video talking about the remaining Straw Hats in the future. Today I just want to focus on the 3 strongest members of the Straw Hat Pirates, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. But before we do that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click the bell icon to be notified, or else I'm gonna choke you out. Now, why the Monster Trio? Well, they're consistently the 3 strongest members of the Straw Hat Pirates and will probably stay like this until the end of time. There's a reason they always fight the 3 strongest enemies in every arc. Also, they always get power-ups in major arcs, examples being Enies Lobby and Wano. But unfortunately for Zoro and Sanji, they haven't got that much spotlight shone upon them, unlike their captain Luffy, who has been making waves throughout the New World and getting stronger and stronger, and it's kind of feeling like they're getting left behind. So many people are excited for this war because Zoro and Sanji, as well as the other Straw Hats, can finally strut their stuff and catch up to Luffy and gain more power in the New World, as the series, as I mentioned many times, is getting closer to the end. But despite all that being said, funny enough, we actually have seen Zoro at full power, and that is when he left a permanent scar on Kaido's chest. The only other person being able to do that was Kozuki Oden, and that great moment where he momentarily stalled out the combination attack between Kaido and Big Mom the Ocean Sovereignty, which are huge feats for Zoro. And what's even better is we actually have an idea of what Zoro needs to do to become stronger, and that is of course attain a Black Blade, which has been foreshadowed throughout Wano and honestly since Dressrosa, and as well control his newly attained Conqueror's Haki and Enma. With everything that we've seen on top of the rooftop thus far involving Zoro, him using Enma and causing all of that damage even though he has yet to fully master that blade, and that it was heavily implied that he imbued Conqueror's Haki coding in his attack against Kaido, and we've seen just a glimpse of what Conqueror's Haki coding could do in the fight between Kaido and Luffy. So Zoro's potential is truly through the roof. And that's not even to mention we still have yet to know the full details of Zoro's demon form Ashura, which we haven't really seen him use and maintain for long periods of time. He's only used it in short bursts, so Zoro could learn how to use Ashura for longer periods of time. And once he learns how to use Enma and Conqueror's Haki to its full extent and master these abilities, Zoro will truly be a monster. Zoro could even utilize his Conqueror's Haki in ways we haven't even seen Luffy use it. It could even be a key factor in creating the Black Blade, even though it wouldn't explain why figures like Shanks, Oden, Whitebeard, and Roger don't have a Black Blade. But nonetheless, it could still be a key ingredient in creating a Black Blade, but obviously there are other steps to it that these other figures just haven't done in their lives. And it has been foreshadowed for a long time that Zoro will attain a Black Blade. I believe Zoro will get 3 Black Blades with the Wado Ichimonji, Enma, and a 3rd blade, whatever that may be. Maybe he actually upgrades the Sandai into the Nidai, which seem to at least be implied to have a pretty big role in the arc in the very beginning when Luffy first found it. But Zoro wanted to see the weapon but was never able to hold it, so maybe he gets it as a thank you for protecting and saving Wano country. Also, it was said that if he can make Enma into a Black Blade, he could raise it in rank. So Zoro, as long with his weapons, will most definitely get stronger throughout this arc. So Zoro should get at least one more fight during this arc, hopefully against King, as they're both the 2nd strongest in the crew, and Zoro could cut fire now. This fight could let Zoro push past his limits and get stronger, similar to his captain fighting Kaido where he got a power up. Hopefully the same could happen with Zoro as well. Because we know what exactly Zoro needs to do to become stronger, it's easier to understand just how powerful Zoro is going to become, and I believe he needs to at least have one more fight, hopefully against someone strong, to bring out his potential even further. We've already seen how much damage and destruction and just how strong Zoro is right now. Once he brings out his potential even further, Zoro is going to be a monster, and I believe he will be a person that is first division commander level, but has the potential to go even further. And now let's go to the cook of the Straw Hats, and that is Sanji. And unfortunately for him, he has kind of gotten the short end of the stick and has been the butt end of many jokes throughout the community. He's useless, he's not as cool as he used to be, so Wano is more of a redemption arc for Sanji in the power structure of the Straw Hat Pirates, because a lot of people in the community have unfortunately lost a lot of faith in him. How sad. But luckily for Sanji, the unknown is on his side. No, not the Pokemon, but the mystery of his power, as we have yet to know the full totality of his strength. We didn't know how strong he was coming out of the post time skip before he got the raid suit, and when you add the raid suit to his power, well, there's a lot that we can really chew on. As we've seen a glimpse of what the raid suit could do in his fight against Page 1, how fast it is, it can camouflage, it could even float up in the sky, and how durable it is, as we've seen in his brief encounter with King, where he took a full frontal attack with King in his full Zoan form and barely got any damage on him. Throwing some Haki in the mix, and his raid suit is damn near impenetrable. But jokes aside, Sanji did state that he wanted to get some modifications done by Usopp and Frankie, and we have yet to even see what those modifications were. And if you add in the fact with Sanji's Diablo Jambe and his raid suit, and he put them together, Sanji's gonna be a formidable opponent in the future. There's also Hell's Memory, a technique we haven't even seen since Fishman Island, in combination with his stealth suit will be terrific. So you see why I say the unknown is really in Sanji's favor, because there's so many factors with Sanji's power where Oda could really go anywhere with his character in terms of strength, where he could be stronger than we know, or he can be exactly where we all think he is going to be. And in terms of Haki, Sanji already has some of the best observation Haki within the crew, even being implied to be better than Luffy and Jinbei's when he went off to go see what's happening with the woman in the raid in Onigashima. And it makes sense because that is his affinity, and we know that Haki blooms during fights, and this is going to be the toughest battle for the Straw Hats, so I do fully expect for Sanji to expand upon his Haki and his observation Haki, maybe even getting Future Sight somewhere down the line. I would really like for Sanji to get a unique observation technique for himself. Maybe he's able to see or perceive time at a much slower rate than everyone else. That'd be pretty dope and makes sense for the realm of observation Haki. One thing I will say for sure though is that Sanji is severely lacking in long range combat. One thing I'm very surprised about is that ever since Fishman Island, when he learned Skywalk, basically Moonwalk for CP9, I eventually was expecting him to showcase that he could too use Tempest Kick or Run Kick, and I'm very surprised he actually hasn't showcased this ability at all, as that attack is straight up his alley. As he's primarily a leg based fighter, I always assumed that this would be the natural progression or evolution to his fighting style, and if you add in Diablo Jambe, where the Run Kick will actually now be fire based, where he's sending fire blast or kicks to people from a long range, that would make a lot of sense for Sanji's character. He might know some Newcomer techniques that he stole from them, as he was on the island for 2 years, so it wouldn't surprise me if he picked up on some of their moves. But it does seem as though Sanji is in a collision course against Queen, who is a 2nd Division commander for the Beast Pirates, as they have some similarities, and they have the connection towards Germa, where Queen seems to be very worried or at least intrigued of Sanji because he is the son of Vince Smoke Judge. So I do think that those two will eventually collide, and that will be Sanji's final matchup in Wano. So it's safe to say by the end of Wano, Sanji will be 2nd Division commander level. And finally, we get to the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates. Oh captain, my captain, Luffy. What will Luffy be like by the end of Wano? How strong will he become? Well, he is getting power-ups within his fight against Kaido, learning to code himself with Conqueror's Haki, but as we have learned from chapter 1014, that wasn't enough, and he is lacking finesse and technique, and he still needs some more room for growth. But he was able to clash with Kaido and even possibly crack his club at some point in their fights. Luffy has been very impressive thus far on top of the rooftop, but yet he is not strong enough to take out Kaido. But we're not talking about right now. We're talking at the end of Wano, where it's most likely leading to the downfall of Kaido at the hands of Luffy, of course, with some help. So clearly Luffy is gonna have to find a way to surpass these Yonko and get by this obstacle that is Kaido, but how will he do that if everything he's learned thus far isn't working well? Luffy still has a few other options. One obviously being awakening his devil fruit. This has been hinted all the way back since Dressrosa, and Luffy loves to learn and utilize things from his past battles. He does that all the time, and that's how he comes up with his techniques and abilities, and he might do it again, remembering his battles against Doflamingo and Katakuri about awakening, and here he might do it again. And plus, we're gonna have to find a way to stop Onigashima from falling on the Flower Capital. He also needs to better utilize his Haki abilities. He just learned how to code himself a Conqueror's Haki, but it's implied by Kaido there is still left to be desired, and Luffy still needs to learn a lot more technique and usage for his Conqueror's Haki, so Luffy still has that to learn from at least. And for us audience members, we have yet to see Luffy use his new Conqueror's ability in combination with his other gear forms, and yet he still lost to Kaido, so that lets you know that he needs at least a new form or technique that he needs to use to defeat Kaido. Luffy is already powerful enough as is, getting power-ups within the fight and being compared to these all-time legendary figures like Whitebeard, Oden, Big Mom, Kaido, Shanks, and Roger, and even Zebek, and he has yet to reach his full potential, and he's already at such a young age at 19 years old, and he's set up to defeat Kaido eventually. And if that happens within this arc, Luffy will most definitely be one of the strongest characters in the series after Wano. Luffy is already a character that's able to split a city in half, as we've seen at the end of Dressrosa, and he almost destroyed the Noah ship arc, which almost destroyed the entirety of Fishman Island, and Luffy's gonna have to find a way to stop Onigashima, whether he uses Awakening Devil Fruit to make the air or the island into rubber and bounce it, or he goes the old-fashioned way and destroys Onigashima with his hands. He's gonna be an island buster by the end of this arc, possibly, if we were to go by this progression of power at least. As we all know by now, Luffy's best abilities and traits is that he learns from his losses and also has an unwavering will where he will never give up and keep bouncing back, which is what will probably happen against Kaido, and his comeback will be truly immaculate. If he's able to fully master these techniques and evolve his Devil Fruit powers even further, like a new gear or awakening his Devil Fruit, he will truly be a formidable opponent, as well as he is a very fast learner and almost a genius at fighting with his adaptability. And if you can combine your armament with your Conqueror's Haki, who's to say you can't do the same but with observation Haki? Maybe Luffy could pull this off in the future. Nonetheless, Luffy has all the tools and the potential to go higher and be stronger than these legendary figures. But he's gonna have to find a way to surpass Kaido, and once he's able to do that, I think everyone in the world and in the fandom at large will consider Luffy an Emperor of the Sea. Overall, it will be the Monster Trio who has the most to gain in terms of power post Wano, but the entire Straw Hat crew will become very strong themselves and quite possibly be one of the strongest pirate crews on the planet once this arc is said and done. I'm by no means the best power scaler in the world. I tried my best. One Piece, unlike other series, there's no clear power hierarchy like the Gote 13 in Bleach, or the Espada, or in JJK the Great Sorcerers, and so on and so forth. The closest thing we have is the Marine hierarchy, from the Foot Soldier all the way up to Admiral and Fleet Admiral, or in the pirate world you have the commanders and the emperors themselves. For comparative sake and to make things clearer and easier for you guys to understand, I use those two systems. What I'm trying to say is I believe the Monster Trio will indeed have enough power to fight against other admirals and division commander characters. With Luffy being the captain and all, he is stronger than the other two and is head and shoulders above the rest, as he's capable of doing things that only a select few are able to do. Luffy will really be one of the strongest characters by the end of the series, but by the end of Wano, I think it's safe to say that we might need to add Luffy into the conversation of some of the strongest characters in One Piece. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good day and a good night. Bye.